You can feel the heat radiating from it, but also the excitement from the crowds that form wherever it goes. This, the largest, most powerful, and most impressive steam locomotive the Union Pacific Railroad ever ran, is called the Big Boy. It weighs over 1 million pounds, produces over 6,000 horsepower, and people love it. Whereas a modern diesel locomotive might just need someone to check every few days to make sure it's still running, a steam locomotive like this needs people not just to run it, but to feed it, to maintain it, and most of all, to support it. In exchange for taking back Locomotive 4014 from the Rail Giants Museum in Pomona, California, the Union Pacific Railroad agreed to provide an excursion train pulled by the very same locomotive once it was returned to operating condition. On October 8, 2019, that train arrived. Under the leadership of Ed Dickens, who has just had a long day driving this train across the Mojave Desert, every part of the locomotive has been returned to new condition by the Union Pacific steam crew. The train's route would bring it in from Las Vegas, Nevada, through the Mojave Desert, down Cajon Pass into Colton, back up the Cajon Pass to Barstow, back to Colton, and finally leaving by way of Palm Springs toward Yuma, Arizona. I first caught up with 4014 as it left a crossroads in the middle of the Mojave National Preserve, at the edge of the world's largest Joshua Tree forest. There are no alternate routes in the desert, and I got stuck in too much traffic to see the train arrive at the historic Kelso station. But I managed to get over to Afton Canyon, where I spotted a bridge over the Mojave River in the middle of nowhere. From Afton, the train made its way to Yermo for an overnight stay at the railroad yard that you already saw. It passed through Barstow, and then Victorville, where I saw it pass by a cement plant on its way to stop at the Amtrak station. From Victorville, the train descended Cajon Pass down to Colton, where it spent the next couple days on display in a bleak and extremely windy corner of the railroad yard, but still surrounded by throngs of hardy fans. Here's how 4014 looked and sounded pulling itself, 3 tenders, 2 diesel locomotives, and a 23-car excursion train up the grade out of the Colton yard toward Cajon Pass. My van is only about a third as old as 4014, but I barely managed to make it to Barstow by highway to catch the train approaching the Highway 58 overpass. On the other side of the overpass was a Y, where the train turned around and backed all the way to Yermo to prepare for the return excursion the next day. I went home to 29 Palms, but returned to chase the train on its journey out of California, parallel to the San Andreas Fault. I started in the orchards of San Timoteo Canyon east of Riverside, a very golden part of the Golden State. train stopped a few miles down the line in Beaumont, and so did traffic on Interstate 10. But I managed to get ahead of it as it coasted through Banning toward Casino Morongo, the tall building off in the distance. Here it is passing the windmills at the foot of 10,800-foot Mount San Jacinto, one of the most impressive mountains there is, and with an aerial tramway that goes all the way to the top. At the north end of Palm Springs, the train begins to enter the rows of tamarisk trees planted to shield the tracks from wind and sand. Also known as salt cedar, these trees are native to North Africa. A lot of wealthy people, including Bill Gates, have winter homes in Palm Desert because of its warmth, leaving only the security guards and gardeners to roast here when it reaches 125 degrees in the summertime. The other snowbirds are the homeless people who come to live in these tamarisk trees that line the railroad tracks behind this shopping center. None of the homeless people were home at the time. This track's going to be coming down. As soon as the train comes into view, of course it switches tracks. I had no idea trains could navigate switches at such a high speed. The train then stopped in Indio, the city of festivals, home of the Riverside County Fair, National Date Festival, International Tamale Festival, California Barbecue Championship, and the Coachella Music Festival. I thought it would be neat to show 4014 traveling through the date palm groves around Mecca. But it didn't turn out very well. There are about half a dozen people who drive alongside this train every single second that it moves, no matter what the speed. They are extremely aggressive toward anyone who threatens to block their precious view, even for a second. There's no passing these people, and there's at least 3 miles of traffic backed up behind them. I got the hell out of there. What came next was truly the low point of my train chasing adventure. 200 feet below sea level, in the bleak landscape near Bombay Beach at the edge of the Salton Sea, right at the point where the San Andreas Fault begins to dive under the water. I only had a minute to set up, and the tripod collapsed mid-shot, but it turned out okay.
Hear your whistle blow, and I'm gonna be chomping on again. Oh, train, I've been everywhere you go, and I know what lies beyond each bend. Oh, train, it's time to pass you, older than the last, and it seems I'm too old for running. I hear rusty wheels grate against the rail, they cry with every mile, and I think I'll stay a while. Oh, train, I go weary every miles, and I miss freedom every smile. Oh, train, just to think about those times, I'll smile when you're hot ball. trains time you pass, you're older than the last, and it seems I'm too old for running. I hear rusty wheels grate against the rail, they climb with every mile, and I think I'll stay a while.